Pikes.
Towards where Davy Rogers is up. Rogers swings the left. Oh, Davy Rogers! Oh, what a goal by Davy Rogers!
Not one person in this stadium seen this goal in half-time.
You can see the guards behind the goal at the main stand. They will be investigating Shelbourne for robbery. They have absolutely mugged Trees United here at Tottenham.
And find the goal! Harry Wood, the jersey's off. 6 minutes to go. Look at the bad one! What a goal that is!
Hi folks, and welcome to another LOI Talk. Today we have a full house. We have 5, and what a team. It's not just the numbers. It's a very strong team, so I'm very looking forward for what's going to happen in the next 90 minutes. We have a special guest. We have Aoibheann Clancy, who is a footballer. She played for the national team for Ireland, so that's something that I'm very interested to understand in terms of feelings. What did she experienced when she put a jersey on? How was to represent her country? So there's a lot to discuss here, and of course we're going to go through the game. So because there was a lot of action happening last weekend, and also in the next 4 days. And for that, I have a great panel. I have my good friend Cornell, and also John and Luke from LOITalk. So I couldn't be more excited about the next 90 minutes. So guys, if you enjoy what we have been doing so far, please award us with a thumbs up. If you know someone who hasn't watched this, but they are into the League of Ireland and football as a whole, please share. And if you haven't subscribed, it would be very helpful if you can click that subscribe button below. So the chat box is open, so we will talk between ourselves, but the chat box is also there for you to add your input, your questions, your comments, whatever you want to share. We are happy to pick. So we will start talking to Aoibheann Clancy. Aoibheann, you are very welcome to these sessions.
Thanks very much for having me.
And okay, we will have a bunch of questions here, and I will start, guys, if you don't mind. So first, I want to make sure. I think that's the most important question, Aoibheann. Am I getting your name correct?
Yeah, you are. It's pronounced a bit differently by everyone, but yeah, you're spot on with it.
That was my main concern. So I think I'm okay to go after this. So now that we know how to pronounce your name, would you tell us a bit more about yourself for those who haven't met you?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, my name's Aoibheann, and I'm a footballer currently playing with Shelbourne. I'm 21, studying in UCD at the minute, and yeah, I was in with the national team there recently. That kind of is me in a bit of a nutshell.
Okay, so who is next? I think we pick John, no? Since we have only 30-40 minutes.
Great. Thanks a million, Vitor. So, Aoibheann, look, thanks very much for coming on. We really appreciate it. Like when I heard that not an Irish international would be coming on, but also my fellow Spaces co-host Luke and Cornell will be on. So, yeah, no, it's great to have you on. But I suppose my first question is quite a simple one, yeah, because this is something that none of us have experienced. So I just love to know, what's it like to play for Ireland? It'd be the most amazing.
Is that after dropping out for everyone else, or?
Oh.
I can still hear John, I'd say, can I?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I can hear everyone. Can you hear us, Aoibheann?
I can hear you, but I'm just, John's actually cutting off me.
All right.
Maybe, if you don't mind, repeat the question, John.
Sorry, can you hear me now, Aoibheann? No. If you want to move on to the next person, lads, like it is rather.
Yeah, let's move to Cornell then, yeah, if you don't mind. Then we bring the ball back to you.
Hello, Aoibheann. Fantastic to actually see you on the show. It's an absolute honor. Please do not get me wrong, honestly. Where you're playing your football is amazing. Please don't get me wrong. My first question is, how do you feel like representing Ireland, and how do you feel like developing and improving your football when you're playing with Ireland? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, obviously it was a real honour getting called up there recently. It's been a dream of mine since I was younger. I've been out of the squad for the last few years. I think the last camp I was in prior to the Greece camp was in Marbella, I think in 2022. So yeah, it'd been a bit of a goal to try to get back in for a bit. So it was really nice that Carla had the trust in me to put me back into the squad. And obviously then in terms of playing, like, it's very exciting because you're getting to play with the best players in Ireland, and I think like a lot of those players are playing in professional leagues and that, so it's definitely a step up in terms of standards. So like that's exciting to try to put yourself against some of the best players and see how you come out in that challenge.
John, maybe you can try again if you don't mind.
Hi, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, John.
Oh, ideal. So yeah, Cornell had a fairly similar question to me, to be honest, but I suppose like my question is quite simple, but it's one that none of us would have any experience of at all, obviously. So that's why I'm curious. What in a nutshell is it like to play for Ireland, to play for your country, you know?
In terms of the feeling or the experience of actually being in camp? Or
I suppose, yeah, the experience of being in camp, and if you want to talk with the feeling as well, that's up to yourself. Yeah, just, you know, the experience, I suppose, more than anything.
Yeah, I think in terms of the experience anyway, it's probably very different to what you'd experience even in club football. Like it's quite an intense experience, I suppose, because for say 1 week to 2 weeks, whatever it is, when you're in camp, you're completely indoors in that environment. You're like 24/7 with the team, training every day. So I think from a footballer's point of view, like, it's just the dream, because you're waking up, like, everything is just there for you. Like, it's such a professional environment that, like, everything from your nutrition to your recovery to the smallest of details around training, everything's catered for you. So like all that you need to focus on is literally just the football. And even just in terms of the contact time that the coaches have with you, obviously like the international break is quite narrow compared to like the time that you'd have within your clubs and stuff. So it's, I suppose, it's a lot of coaching, a lot of information and stuff to take on board within a small space of time. Like, it's a lot of tactical work that's going on rather than like more of a physical load on the body, because again, camp is quite short in terms of like the amount of work that has to be done when the coaches don't have that much contact time with the players.
Yeah,
Luke?
no, that must be incredible. Sorry, Vitor, do you want to go to the next person?
Yeah, maybe Luke now. He hasn't
no.
had the chance, so if you don't mind.
Hi, Aoibheann, I'm Luke. Nice to meet you. I was just doing a bit of research beforehand, and I was just curious because you played at Wexford, and you'd won Young Player of the Year, and you'd won the FAI Cup under them. I'm just wondering, like, is the League of Ireland such a good basis to build experience and get into the national team, or do you think going abroad is still a better option for young people?
Yeah, I suppose that's like a fairly hot topic at the moment within the league. I think in terms of getting experience, I think the League of Ireland has been valuable in that way, because, like, say I started playing senior football at the age of 16 at Wexford. So like by the time I'm 21, I've gained a lot of experience playing senior football, whereas if I'd went earlier in the time, say to a professional team or whatever, you might be getting the game time and then you don't have that experience under your belt as soon. Yeah, saying that the league obviously is still kind of part-time, so there's definitely room for growth within the league, which I think even since I've been in the league, I've seen a big step up in the standard of it. So like, where some of the other international players are obviously playing at a higher standard, it can be difficult to bridge that gap, but the league is definitely moving in the right direction.
Perfect. Thank you.
Question in terms of your childhood. So when you were growing up, if you go back in time, what was your first memory playing football as a child?
Growing up, I would have actually predominantly played GA. So it wouldn't have really been too structured around when I started playing football. My first memories would actually just be in the schoolyard at lunchtime. I was in a rural primary school, and there was only one game, like soccer was played at every lunchtime out in the schoolyard on just a patch of tarmac. Probably playing at home, my brother and sister as well, was just kicking about really. And then my first introduction into structured football probably would have been under 12s. It's probably playing a few years younger than actually being up to the age, but yeah, it was actually just a coincidence. One of my GA coaches, it was typical small rural club. They were stuck for numbers. I think it was actually on the boys team, and they texted my mum the night before a match, being any chance Aoibheann's around in the morning to play a game, just step in. And yeah, kind of just went from there.
John?
Very much. So, yeah, so my next just question there would be what would be your take on the current state of the Women's League of Ireland?
Could you hear John?
No, he's gone again. Was he asking a question?
Oh my God.
Sorry, he keeps, everyone else is grand, but he keeps cutting out for me.
Sorry about that. If you want to move on again, that's no problem. And sure, we'll see. Can we get back? Thanks. Yeah.
Next on the list is Cornell. Yeah.
How do you feel that your career's benefited you since playing for Shelbourne? Do you expect to win the League of Ireland title just like how Damien Duff did last season? Do you feel that the Shelbourne team is inspired from what Damien Duff did last season, and do you think that you will be able to do what he did last season? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think definitely seeing the success of the men's lends motivation towards the women. But I think even the women in their own right have been very successful over the past few years. And I think in a club like Shelbourne, winning the league or the cup or whatever it might be is always an aim. And there's an expectation within the club that the women's side are going to be successful. So yeah, it's definitely an aim this year, and as it should be every year for the club. So yeah, just in terms of my own, based on your original question, I think Shell's definitely really benefiting me at the minute. Obviously, I'm only fresh into the club this year, but I think I'm really improving in Shelbourne and being challenged by something fresh. So yeah, no, I think it's been really positive there.
Mm-hmm.
John?
Or John, yeah, we're good.
No, let's give the ball back to John. He can give it a try.
Perfect.
Thanks, Vitor. Sorry, Aoibheann, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you now.
Oh, I see it. All right. So, yeah, just my question there would be, what is your opinion on the current state of the women's LOI?
I think, as I kind of mentioned earlier, the league definitely improved since I've been in it, in terms of the professionalism and that the standard on the pitch and also off the pitch in terms of moving towards the professional game. It's still a long way off that, and I think that jump shouldn't be made prematurely in a way that the league and the clubs within the league probably can't handle or don't have the resources for. But I think it's definitely moved in the right direction. It's gaining a lot more traction as well, in terms of TV coverage and the cup finals. Well, it's always kind of been on RTE, but just more engagement from social media and stuff like that. It's probably, there's a bit more buzz about the league, and you see the likes of Rusha Littlejohn now after signing for Rovers that has been huge for the league, with a player of her caliber and of her following as well to draw attention to the league. So yeah, I think while the league probably has a good way to go in terms of there's a lot of room for improvement and growth there, but it's definitely going in the right direction and has been for a good while now.
Agreed.
Nope.
And
I was just reading a previous interview of yours, and you were just talking about how Denise O'Sullivan was one of the players that you grew up like loving and being inspired by. How do you feel now, just like casually playing with her, in international windows, and you still feel a bit in awe of her, or has it caught up to you yet, kind of thing?
I think I'm kind of used to it now, but definitely like my first camp, I suppose I was younger as well, like when you're 17, you're kind of looking around, you're like, oh my god, this is kind of crazy, because you grew up idolizing them and watching them on the telly and that, and like I would have went to matches in Tala to watch them, and then to actually be in the same changing room as them is very surreal. But I think now it's more normalized in my head, like they're just players. And yeah, well, at the same time though, like the likes of Denise and that, like they've like so much experience, and like again, like their standard is like a different level, so to be able to like learn off what she's doing and like delve into that is like really invaluable for like a young player.
Thank you.
So there's a question from one of our viewers. I'm going to read it out loud from Football Always. Thanks for the question. What's been your favorite ground to play at? Not sure if you could hear me, Aoibheann.
sorry, Aoibheann, did you catch what Vitor said there?
No, sorry. Is it my Wi-Fi that's bad or something? Whoever goes to speak,
Probably just it could be anything like. Football Always just asked there. What's been your favorite ground to play at in your career so far?
Thanks, John.
Favorite round. Who's Tala, I'd have to say. Just it always like seems to have a good atmosphere, really good surface. So I really like Tala. Good memory there of winning the cup final as well. So.
Very good.
Yeah, can you hear me now, Aoibheann? Can you hear me? No. Okay, maybe John, you can throw a question then.
No problem. Yeah. So just this will probably be my final question now. But I understand for like obligatory reasons you may not be able to answer this. That's absolutely no problem. But who is your favorite? Who's been your favorite manager that you've worked under in your career? So.
I don't really have an answer to that. I suppose they all have added different components to my game, and I think no two managers are alike really. Like they all bring a different perspective and like their own style, I suppose, into their management. So yeah, maybe that's the diplomatic answer, but there's nobody really that would stand out over the other. I think they've all imparted their knowledge well.
That's completely fair, absolutely. Aoibheann, thanks so much, and all the best to you in the rest of your career. I think Cornell wants to ask a question next, so go ahead there, Cornell.
Thanks, John.
My question: Do you think that Arisha Little John of Shamrock Rovers is your biggest rival when you're playing against when you're playing against her?
In personally?
Yeah, on the pitch, not off the pitch, but on the pitch.
Well, we haven't. When we played against Rovers, Risha hadn't actually signed yet, so I can't really answer that for you. But yes, we'll be due to play. I think we play Rovers again the last game of the season, so that could be interesting. And I think I'm really excited to play against Risha. I think to put yourself up against the best is again like really exciting and what you kind of strive towards. So yeah, again it's class to have Risha in the league, and I suppose we'll see on the day.
And then also, I have a question. Also, do you think that Shamrock Rovers is your biggest rival, or least rival? in the League of Ireland?
I suppose there is a bit of rivalry there, kind of a Dublin derby when you meet, and there was a really good atmosphere when you play against them first game of the season. Like there was that bit of an edge. Would I say they're biggest or least rivals? I don't really know. Like you have other like Dublin derbies in there, and like you have other clubs that are vying for the top place in the league. Like we're trading to Athlone, who Shells would have been up against for the league last year and in the cup final, and there's probably a good rivalry there too. So yeah, Rovers is definitely like a really good game and a good feel about that game.
No further questions.
Thanks
I'll
very
just
much.
pop in with just one or two more there. Just I was talking about Denise earlier and just the other players. Just for your future of your career, would you be looking to follow like Denise and moving to America, or there's players like Amber Barsh who've stayed around Europe in the likes of Germany and Belgium? Like, where do you see yourself kind of moving to after you finish your degree in Ireland?
I'm not overly sure. I first of all, yeah, I'd be really happy to get like any opportunity for a professional move. I don't think I have a preference whether that's like would it be like America or Europe or England or wherever it is. I think all that I'm interested in is like, is it a step up in standard, and is the club the right fit for me? So yeah, it could be anywhere really, but it's more to do with the club and whether that is what's right for me at the time. So yeah, it could be anything. Once the opportunity comes up, I definitely take it, and I'd be excited about the prospect.
Yeah, and just like when you're in college, do you find it hard to juggle between playing soccer with the national team and even Shelbourne, like such a big team, and then having to study as well? And do you play soccer for UCD as well, or is it just with Shelbourne? Like UCD college team.
I'm in UCD playing well, like within the college league. That's actually finished up for this year, but yeah, that's next to a few matches in the calendar. At the moment, like at the moment, this present moment, I'm like kind of busy enough with assignments and end of year exams and that. So yeah, there is a bit of balancing in that, but yeah, like I'm actually on a scholarship here. It's called like the Ad Astra scholarship in UCD. So like that's invaluable there. Like basically the whole point of the program is to help you balance both. Yeah, but definitely like if you're trying to maximize football, even though it is like a part-time gig in Ireland, but like trying to maximize your football and do well in college, like it's pretty full on, but it's something that I'm trying to manage anyway, and hopefully I'm doing a good job.
I just have one more, then we can go back to Ever. But just a new manager now in Ireland, Carla Ward. Do you feel she brings a different kind of experience now to younger players? She's managed like teams in England like Aston Villa and Birmingham. Do you feel that experience is rubbed off on the players?
Yeah, I think Carla has like a depth of experience as well. I think she's doing really well after coming into the Irish team, and again just bringing something fresh and probably a new perspective on the team. Like it's new eyes, brings her own new ideas. So I think the team's reacting, like obviously 2 great results against Greece. The team's reacting really well to that. And yeah, it's great. Like you could see her out watching the League of Ireland games and that. So for the likes of in the league, that's unbelievable to see.
That's all from me. Yeah, thanks, and best of luck as well.
All right, thanks very much, Luke.
Maybe John, I know you are on the rush.
Yeah, lads, I'll probably have to cut there, but Aoibheann, thank you so much for coming on, and lads as well. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be back hopefully. So all the best.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Have a good one. Okay, so can you hear me, Aoibheann, just to make sure?
Yeah, I got you now.
Cool. So I was given here a rapid fire. Are you familiar with this game?
Yes.
Okay, so
Am I good at it as a question, but
you'll be great. So it's only like 8 or 9 questions. So any role model when it comes to football style?
Footballer, is it?
Yeah, footballer, male, female.
Carly Lloyd. Female footballer.
Yeah. Best player you've played with?
He's gone again for me.
He just said the best player that you played with.
Played with Denise Sullivan.
Okay. Toughest opponent.
Did you hear him that time?
No, he's completely gone now.
I'll just recite it back to you. So, toughest opponent that you played against.
Toughest opponent, Karen Duggan.
Okay, I'll try again. If not, Luke, you give me a hand here. Dream Women's LOI 5 aside team.
The dream 5-side for the League of Ireland Women's. If you could pick any 5 players, what your dream starting 5 is?
Oh God. Dream 5-side. Okay, in goal. Jane Mern. Then this is a tough one. Oh God. I suppose Rusha. There's one. LOI. Was any defenders? You put in Pearl there and Alex Kaplan. Not a defender, but sure.
And then also, if I may add, what would if you had to move to England for a prime example? Which club in England would you love to move to, and why?
If I'd pick any club that I could just go and play without like hesitation, it would definitely be Chelsea.
Chelsea,
yeah,
impressive. I'm surprised that you didn't mention Spurs.
Really. Yeah, well, that's without like taking anything else like playing time into consideration. But yeah, Chelsea, they're just unreal and kind of sporting growing up as well. So
I like it.
Okay, I will try again. Can you hear me now, Aoibheann?
yeah, you're back.
Good stuff. Yeah. Favorite football growing up?
Messi.
Okay. Now, outside of football, biggest influence growing up?
My parents, definitely.
That's a very beautiful answer. Hidden talent or something people don't know about you?
Oh God.
They will know now.
Something people don't know
Don't be a
about.
secret anymore.
Maybe the fact that I'm from Limerick. I think that's not a hidden talent at all, but just everyone always gets confused where I'm from. They think I'm from Cork and Tip and stuff because of where or even Wexford because of where I played. So yeah, just
that. Any advice you would give to young girls coming up through the ranks?
Any advice? Say hard work is the only way you're going to get where you want to go. And it doesn't involve just going to training and doing what's asked of you. It's doing extras outside of training as well is what makes the difference.
Okay, final question. I'm very curious for this answer here. Pre-match superstition or ritual?
I'm actually not superstitious at all. I know some of the girls like have a few mad ones, like they have to wear the same socks or like put on their right boot for the left boot and all this kind of stuff. But I'm more of like that's not going to make any difference at all. I'm more, I suppose, of a logical thinker. I'm like, no superstitions.
A final question: what is your favorite match day playlist to listen to before you play your football?
Match day playlist. If I was going to the match, like probably something chill, like a bit, and And then when it gets into the dressing room, it's a bit more upbeat than that. But I've no control over that. That's just someone else playing. So I'm happy with whatever. But yeah, kind of chill music going to the game.
One question that comes to my mind now. Do you think for a footballer, what's more important? Is it, let's say, natural talent or hard work?
Hard work, I think. I think you can get a lot of places without natural talent. Whereas natural talent alone, you can, there's a limit to it. And without hard work, like, your talent doesn't really shine through or mean anything at the end of the day.
Yeah. I totally relate to that. I think natural talent is good for short term, but if you want to go down the road, you need to add some hard work. Otherwise, that natural talent won't bring you much further. And that's true not only for football. I think it's a lesson for many aspects of life. So thanks very much, Aoibheann, for your insights. I think we learned about your career, your prospects, what you've done so far, and I think you provide the people out there with a great example on how to approach and pursue your dream. So I want to wish you all the best, and and stay around.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Vitor.
Okay, take care.
Thanks.
Hello.
Bye.
Bye, Aoibheann.
Bye. Thanks.
Right, so that was Aoibheann Clancy. Yeah, well, that was good. I learned how to say the word Aoibheann. I didn't know. There are a few names that I'm still learning, but maybe I'm going to ask the experts in Irish in our team, which is Luke and John. So you two, as far as I know, are very good with that. And Cornell, you are more or less in the same boat as me. We are still learning. So
Yeah, we're still learning, so that's the main important thing.
yeah, we are in the same classroom here.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the
Let's get into the games. Let's start with the games that took place last weekend. It seems a while ago now. There's a lot happened. I'm going to put them on the screen, and I'm going to encourage the viewers to add their comments, their questions, to make sure this is interactive. Okay. What we have first, the Dublin derby. So Shelbourne beat Bows 1-0, and maybe Bows won't be the winner since it was predicted last Thursday. Maybe I start with Luke since he's new to this podcast. Luke, can you share your thoughts on this result?
Can you hear me still? Yeah, is my microphone working? Because I cut out there.
We can, yeah.
Perfect. I think this was a tough game for Bows, really, because they'd be going into it against the former champions. So I think they'd be happy enough on any other day to come away with a 1-0 loss, because you'd be expecting really Shelbourne, the form that they've been on even just from a year on since their title victory, to absolutely slaughter Bohemians really 3-0. But Bohemians are just in a mess of their own, and I think there's a few teams around the league struggling a bit, whether it's financially or it can just be situations on the pitch. But I think for Bohemians now, they just need to start rebuilding, because there's some tough games coming up, and there's no easy games in this division. Even Cork and Sligo, who are down the lower half of the table, they're unreal teams who'd be fancying any game that they're in. But just for this game alone, I think Shelbourne, it took them 80 minutes to actually get the goal. So I think it was being a hard-fought victory early, but it's a good victory for Shelbourne just to keep building on with another 3 points. But for Bows, it's a wake-up call again that they need to start moving on and progressing more so, and maybe a few changes around the club that fans are looking for.
Cornell, it seems that Bows were not boosted by the comments we heard firsthand on our episode last Thursday.
No, there wasn't really, because last Thursday, basically, I boosted Bohemians up, and that's what made them go and win the game. But playing against Shelbourne, who are still favourites to retain the League of Ireland title, and you tell me that you go on and lose 1-0. Yes, it was a very imbalanced game. I watched the Dublin derby myself. I thought it was a very intense game. It was, very physical. We saw the talent and the ability of what Shelbourne can do, but Bohemians never turned up really, and Bohemians paid the price, losing 1-0. We saw Boyd and Odebenko, linking up together. I've been saying it from time that I would like to see Odebenko and Boyd link up together. Got no problems with Harry Wood. I think Harry Wood's been playing some very good football. Damien Duff has got the absolute best out of Harry Wood since he scored that winner last season to win them their first League of Ireland title. But obviously, we want to see a new, front three of Shelbourne. I want to see, Boyd and Odebenko and definitely Wood linking up together, because I think that would be one of the best three that Shelbourne has. I mean, obviously having Odebenko on the bench doesn't really help, because then we're not seeing the very best of him. As for Bohemians, listen, they're in serious trouble. Their objective was obviously to finish in the European places, and we're not seeing that at the moment, because obviously it's Alan Reynolds, not getting his starting 11 correct. He's not playing Mose, who's supposed to be in this team. I think he needs to go in the summer, because that signing has just been an absolute failure, just like how you've seen Bohemians have been an absolute failure, because Alan Reynolds just does not believe in those players, or he doesn't know his starting 11, or he doesn't know who to start and who not to start. But I think for me personally, I think if this really carries on, for Bohemians, then I think it's time that, I think we see a new manager come to Bohemians. As for Shelbourne, they're still title contenders. They're still favourites to retain the title, because I said it from time, even from the start of this podcast. I said, listen, Damien Duff is the reason why Shelbourne is where they are in the table. Damien Duff's winning mentality is the reason why they are going strong after strength after strength after strength, and why they're getting the wins. Damien Duff is the reason why he's getting the best out of all these players. He's getting the best out of every single one of them. New signings that he's put into this team has really gelled, from the Chapmans to the Kerman Roy and all of them. You see how the winning mentality is in this team. Yes, of course, I know John Martin is out injured. That sucks for them. But we all want to see the front three of Odebenko, Boyd, and obviously Harry Wood in this team, because if Damien Duff plays them three, they are definitely going to be around challenging for the League of Ireland title, even though we all know that St. Patrick's will go on and probably go on and win it. But this is the League of Ireland. This is how the League of Ireland works.
Talking of St. Patrick's, Cornell, I think we saw these results coming, given the wave of injuries affecting Cork and the form of the team from Inchicore.
Yeah, this is upsetting to see, because I think Cork City, I feel very, very sorry for Cork City, because without Maguire, without Keaton in this team, it's just you haven't got no strikers, Victor, in this team. You haven't got no strikers. I mean, look, I don't blame Clancy really coming out and saying that if they don't perform, he's going to replace them, and he's got every right to do that, because there are some players in the Cork City team that is not performing the way they're supposed to be performing. Look, St. Pat's, obviously they are where they are. They are second for a reason. Yes, they are still favourites to go on and win the League of Ireland title, but the reason why they won, fantastic result. I thought it was a brilliant game. St. Pat's showed why they are the team that they are today, because they have of the squad depth that's in the team. They've shown the quality, from the likes of Zebedee, who's got the most assists this season of 3. He's showing the quality that he is. You've got Jake Mulaney in there, Aidan McKenna. Yeah, I think the only thing I will probably criticize is that obviously they're missing Aidan McKenna. Aidan McKenna has been so lethal to St. Pat's team this season. He's got 5 goals this season. Obviously they are missing him, because when he's in the box, they are an absolute handful. Mason Media, I've seen lots of messages and tweets about him that obviously we're not seeing the very best of Mason Media. Look, listen, we all know that he's going to go to Tottenham in 2026. But the only way he's going to get better is if he improves and develops. And, Stephen Kenny is working so hard to get the best out of him. And we're seeing that because Mason Melia is a quality young striker at the age of 17 going on to 18. But obviously when he's playing against any team, doesn't matter if it's small, big teams, we've got to we want to see the very best of Mason Melia. We want to see Mason Melia be that young, talented, gifted striker who can score goals and make things happen. Of course, yes, you've got other players in St. Pat's team as well too, who are also quality as well. Jamie Lennon, fantastic seeing him in there as well. That midfield is just an absolute handful. Chris Forrester, absolute GOAT of St. Pat's. Everything you see, the back line, amazing as well too. But Cork City, if Cork City do not find no solutions to their front line until Maguire returns, until Keating returns, even though he's out to 6 to 9 months, which is not very good for in Cork City's favour, then I do worry that Cork City is going to be competing for relegation and playoffs to stay in the League of Ireland, because they've been there before. They were relegated to the First Division. They had to work really hard to get back, and they're back in the Premier Division for a reason, for them to stay up and to get more players. So if Alan Clancy has to do that, he will do that, and he will bring in, if he had to, I think he needs to bring 2 strikers to back up Keating and Maguire, because obviously Cathal O'Sullivan, yes, we all know he's the next generation, next big thing, but the reliance cannot be on him too much. Yes, you've got Dara Crowley, who's also stepping up as well. Don't get me wrong, but there needs to have some consistency in this Cork City team, and especially up front. Back line is not a problem. Midfield is not a problem. Greg Bolger coming back is a massive boost to Cork City and everyone. But that front line, I think 2 strikers are needed for Cork City to have any chance of staying up from now to the end of the season.
Luke, your thoughts on your neighbours' game against Pats?
Yeah, being from Kerry now, we'd hear a lot about Cork City because a lot of Kerry fans before Kerry was formed would have supported Cork City just flying over an hour and a half drive, so that was their closest thing to League of Ireland football for a long time. But just looking at the table then, Cork City, because they put so much on Rory Keating coming back and Sean Maguire coming back. And when you have injuries like that can really just shake up a team. And then there's doubts about capabilities of the management staff as well. But Cork City, they've 3 losses and 2 draws in the last 5 games compared to you're looking at upwards towards the table. I said it there, St. Pat's have 3 wins in their last 5. So there's just those differences. If you can close out those gritty games, a 2-goal difference. If Cork had taken more chances, maybe. I didn't actually see the game now because I was at Kerry. So I wouldn't know too much about what kind of chances Cork City created. But you just have to close out games at the same time. That's what St. Pat's are doing. Real champions, it's not about winning games 3-4-0. It's if you can close out those 1-0s like we saw Shelbourne did against Bows. And even Shelbourne did on the last game of the season last year to win it was against Derry. So this league is all about minor wins against great teams because it's one of the most competitive divisions that we've had in a long time. Because last year Dundalk and Drogheda were always at the bottom 2 of the table, but now you're looking at from 7 upwards really could be in the title again. And I'm definitely not counting Cork City out of climbing up the table, and same with the likes of Sligo, Waterford, but Waterford have 5 losses in a row now, and they'll be playing Cork City, I think, is it next week maybe. So that'll be an interesting game just to see between the months teams again, because that was a tight game last time round. So just to see how these teams can turn around. But I think St. Pat's, like you were saying, are definitely favourites to win it, given how they finished off last season. But just to move forward again, not to get in their own heads about we can get ahead of themselves, but just stay humble about it and close out the games. And eventually, maybe 30 games into the season, you'll see where they are, and we can start judging properly about winning titles then.
There won Drogheda 3. Drogheda seems unstoppable. They went all the way to Derry and returned back home with 3 points in their pocket. Luke.
Yeah, Derry away for any team like Rovers, Shelbourne, established teams over the last few years would be a tough one. But for Drogheda, who really only started finding form in the Cup last year, and maybe the last few games of the league, that'd be a massive game for them. Even just to have got a draw, you'd be happy with. But to win by 2 goals is massive. Obviously, Drogheda got the Cup final last year. Maybe that was a spur to spur them on this year now, just to start fresh, maybe, because they had a rough year last year, and if it wasn't for their loud neighbours, they could have staring relegation in the face, really, and they had to go through the playoffs. But it was a weird week for them that time. But a 3-1 win away to Derry is massive, because that's a long old trek for anyone, and it's a tough ground as well. It's Astro, which draw they might not be too used to. I don't know how many Astro pitches there are in the Premier Division, but there's a good few in the First Division anyway. But I think it's a way forward for Irish football, already given the weather we have. But that's another topic anyway. But yeah, like a 2-goal difference victory is massive. So I think for Drogheda, we're just waiting to see them drop off eventually, but it's just not happening. So maybe they really are contenders. But I think it'll be another few games before we can actually see if they can be consistent, or if this is just still just the start of the year.
Cornell, so we are not disappointed by Drogheda. We talk on a weekly basis. It seems that they are in great form, and there's nothing in the way to stop them from finishing in the first 3 places. I think they can easily fight for Europe. Would you share that perspective?
Yeah, I think Drogheda has been in excellent form, and for them to be top of the table, you've got informed players like Warren Davis, who's got 4 goals in 9 matches this season. Absolutely on fire, unstoppable. His goals is just unbelievable. You got Dara Markey, who's one of the best players in the League of Ireland this season. The way that Drogheda have gone about their business is that they, I wouldn't say never to rule them out in trying to challenge for the League of Ireland title and maybe cause a shock to everybody in the League of Ireland. But look, Derry City obviously wanted to come into this game and get some vengeance after losing the FAI Cup final last season. But it's not about vengeance going into these type of games. It's about your winning mentality. It's about how you turn up. It's how you as a team are trying to go about this game, and Derry didn't go about it in the right way. Drogheda went by it in the right way, and they got the result and they got the win because they worked hard together. They put out the best team. The manager knew his starting 11. He knew what plays he's going to put. He knew, yes, his key players are Markey and Warren Davis are obviously doing the job. And then, of course, they've got players coming back from injury. It's not easy going to Drogheda's football ground. It's not, because no team wants to be playing at Drogheda's football ground, because when you play there, it's always difficult and the atmosphere in there is absolutely electric. But yeah, of course, if somebody would say, well, does Drogheda deserve to challenge and try and go on and win the League of Ireland? Why not? But, we all of us know as League of Ireland fans, and you as well too, Victor and Luke, that we all know that St. Pat's and Shelbourne, and of course we all know that and Shamrock Rovers are favourite to win the League of Ireland title. But I mean, to put an underdog in that situation to challenge, never say never on that, because look, Drogheda are the underdogs of this division. They know how to play football. They know how to get the best out of the team and with each other. This is what League of Ireland is about. League of Ireland is about seeing young talents. Or you got young talents like Warren Davis, who is completely running the show, and I expect him to carry on that form that he's doing. And then you never know, you might see EFL clubs and other clubs probably come after him. Dara Markey, the same thing. Connor Keeley, outstanding centre back, yes, we're seeing the very best of Connor Keeley. We didn't see it at St. Pat's. We didn't see how he would perform, but right now, he's made the move back to Drogheda, and we're seeing that him and Quinn are the best centre back pairings of Drogheda, because that back line is just outstanding. Denilson, don't even talk for that goalkeeper. Absolutely on fire. Brilliant goalkeeper for Drogheda. Outstanding keeper, Denilson. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of clubs looking at him.
So the other monster team that is struggling at the moment is Waterford, while Shamrock they seem back on track after the initial fatigue, which probably was caused by the Conference League. How did you see this game, Cornell?
This game was very amazing to watch. Shamrock Rovers, 4 wins, one draw this season. They are on outstanding form, Victor. We are seeing the very, very best of Shamrock Rovers, Victor, because obviously the first half of the season, when they lost to Bohemians, that was the last time Bohemians actually won on the first day of this new season in the League of Ireland. We questioned Shamrock Rovers. We absolutely questioned them, Victor. And we were saying, look, when are we gonna see the very best of Shamrock Rovers? When is Stephen Bradley gonna get the very best out of this team? When is Stephen Bradley gonna stop relying on Michael Noonan, even though he's 16 years of age? When are we going to see the best of Aaron Greeny? When are we going to see the very best of Rory Gaffney? Are we going to see that? Right now, it's Graham Burke that's up front right now. Graham Burke is just absolutely on fire, and I'm very surprised that Ireland international team has not looked at him and say, listen, he's an experienced player, he's still elite, he can still go, he can still be in the Irish team and really give Helgeson something that Helgeson is missing in the international team. But when he plays in this Shamrock Rovers' team, he is outstanding. Josh Houlihan, another fantastic centre-back. Not saying that Lopez is not great. Lopez is fantastic at the back and absolute solid, just like Houlihan. Yes, obviously, when Matthews comes back in that back line, I think they'll be absolutely solid again. Yes, I do question when they're going to bring a striker in. Yes, I do question maybe they need another winger just to take the pressure of Jack Byrne. Jack Byrne, we're seeing the very best of him already, right? Danny Mandroyu, fantastic to see him come back. Absolutely brilliant what he's just showing. But still, as for Waterford, we expected them to be in the European places. We expected them to be challenging for 5th or 4th. We expected that. We're not seeing that. The new signings or whatever probably hasn't clicked yet. We've seen 2 new signings from the Premier League, from Coyle to Oberlenka. You know, we haven't seen them click yet. Almond, yes, we all know about him. He can score goals. He can make things happen. That is his job to do. Yes, some of the signings that they've signed, we haven't seen them as yet. But Shamrock Rovers, they are still favourites, Victor. They're still favourites to be in the title race. They're still favourites to go on and win their 5th consecutive League of Ireland. Yes, I think once they add a striker into that fold and take the pressure off the likes of Gaffney, take the pressure off the likes of Green, take the pressure off Graham Burke, even though Graham Burke is still killing it. You've got fantastic midfielders like Matt Healy, who's killing it, obviously, on that right side. You've got Aaron McMenef, absolutely brilliant. Yes, they haven't replaced Poom yet, but even though I think they still need maybe a central midfielder, but they've still got some good squad depth. You got these young, talented, gifted players from the youth ranks. They are just really showing that they are the next big thing. But Shamrock Rovers to win this game against Waterford was a fantastic result for them. Waterford, I think they need more consistency out of the remaining games that they have. And I think if Shamrock Rovers can carry on, yes, they got a big game obviously on Easter Monday, obviously, and they'll obviously go on and win that. But I think with the momentum that Shamrock Rovers has really got, you cannot say that they cannot be in the title race this season for them to go and win their 5th consecutive League of Ireland title.
Look, as you just heard, a couple of us were underestimating Rovers at the beginning of the season, and now they are surprising us with great results and great performances on the pitch. How are you watching the season being unfolded for Shamrock?
Yeah, I agree with Cornell definitely that they are one of the favourites still. Like regardless of how they started, they're always just there, just waiting to find form. I think Waterford would be a bit disappointed with how they played the last night because for the first goal, the ball was crossed in and there was just no one to actually mark. I think it was McNeff got the goal. He was just kind of waiting there for the ball to come to him. And then for the second goal, then the Waterford keeper got a hand to it and it just went in off the post. So there's like minor moments there. But again, Waterford weren't really up to much in this game. But just in Rovers generally, I think that they're still one of the strongest teams by a mile in the league because Shelbourne up there. But, when you look at Rovers, it's just recent history, how many leagues in a row and all that stuff. And even the one team just about missed out last year. So I'd agree with you as well that it was the Conference League. Maybe that just held them back a bit, After that loss, there might have been a bit, almost like a hangover from it. But Rovers have 4 wins in the last 5 now, and they have some games coming up now. You know, that Cork City game as well recently that they had to replay 4-1. I think that was a comfortable enough one for them. That's just pointing out problems in Cork as well. But for Rovers, I definitely fancy them. They'd be my people to win it now. People are saying St. Pat's and Shelbourne to do it, but I'd still back Rovers really. That last year might have just been a lack of consistency at the start, like we've seen this year. But I think this year now that they're going to focus more, get their head down and focus on domestic titles really. And I'd like to see them have more of a role in the cup as well, because you know it's more Derry and St. Pat's that have had chances in the cup, but Rovers are definitely always there. They're always with a chance. And I think Waterford then on their side then is just the complete opposite really, that they badly need to change the way that they're going. Like 5 losses in a row now, and there'll be some tough games coming up because there's no easy games, like I said, in this division. So I think they're polar opposites of the league really, that Shamrock are looking really bright compared to Waterford are staring down the barrel of relegation again.
There was a game happening on the west of Ireland between two teams from the west of Ireland. One is an underdog who's doing very well, along with Drogheda. Galway, like last season, they are at the top and they are presenting themselves in a way that for sure is delighting their fans. And that result attests that we should take them seriously. Look.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be familiar enough with Galway just from the first year that Kerry FC were in the league was the year that Galway got promoted, and Galway were, like, from the first 10 games, really, you knew they were going to get promoted. It was similar to Cork City last year and even Dundalk this year. In the first division, there's always that one team that looked really strong, but it was Galway that year, and they've continued that form last year, along with Waterford, who were promoted that year, did really well. But now it's Galway just finding a different form altogether, really. And against Connacht rivals then to go to Sligo, you know, it's only a short journey, but there's a lot of history in that game. There's only 2 Connacht teams, so you know there'd be a bit of a rivalry there. And Sligo have had some tough times recently where they've been close to relegation, but they've got around 8th or maybe even 9th and just escaped it. But they're well capable of good performances as well. So I think just for Galway, just keep doing what they're doing really. I don't think there can be any complaints really from the fans, because they've had some big results even last year against bigger teams like Rovers. And DC Park now, their home ground, is a hard place to go for any team now. And when you can make your home ground a tough place to go, you're going to do very well. So I think for them, it's again like Rovers, keep going the way you're going, and Sligo, like Waterford, you need to change it a bit, whether that's on the pitch. I haven't heard any complaints really about management, but maybe we're just so far away from Sligo now we wouldn't hear those stuff. But no, there needs to be some changes in a few teams in the division, then the other half are starting to just take off. So I really like the way Galway are going, and I'd like to see them get a European place maybe over the next few years.
Cornell, anything you want to add here?
Yeah, Galway United are in wicked form. Despite losing last week, you know, they were the only team that was unbeaten in the League of Ireland this season. Galway United have just really clicked on excellent form this season. They've shown the class, the quality, everything that you want to see from Galway United. You know, and they deserve to be going on another run again. Despite losing one game. But, you know, as for Sligo Rovers, they're in a lot of trouble. You know, you look at Sligo Rovers' team now, they're in 10th place. It's not the position that they want to be. You know, their position is for them to go up the table and stay up the table. But, you know, with John Russell's job probably being on the line, obviously, you know, there's serious questions that has to be asked about Sligo. I mean, the squad depth, they're lacking squad depth, despite that they've added the likes of Matty Wolf and Jake Hayes as well in their team, Dole Hayes in the team. But look, I think obviously, I think they're missing, you know, now Morahan as well, who played for Sligo Rovers last season, despite him making his debut in 2018. You know, obviously made 200 appearances for Sligo Rovers. You know, since he's not in the team and he made the move to Bohemians, you know, they haven't really really clicked, and then Ellis Chapman making the move to Shelbourne, that was a big blow, and McGinty going to Shamrock Rovers is also a big blow. And then obviously I think we haven't seen a lot of their other signings as well too, especially, and I think they're also very vulnerable, especially on the wings as well, especially on that right side, and I think that's what's causing the problems with their team, serious problems, and you're kind of thinking, well, should Saloga Rovers look at probably strengthening that area just so that that you have more consistency to go forward? Yes, obviously we're seeing the best out of Owen Eldon as well, 19 years old, absolute star, going to be absolutely one player, young, talented, gifted player to watch. Of course, you've got Jay Hickey as well, who's also class as well. Fantastic as well. When he's on the ball, is always a different kettle of fish with him. But yeah, I think Saloga Rovers is definitely a club that needs a lot of questioning, and obviously I think on the lack of quality as well too. But Galway United is just unstoppable at the moment, and Moses Dyer, he's adapting very well to the League of Ireland and scoring goals for fun. So I think there's more to come from Galway United from now to the end of the season, and I think we'll see them definitely qualify for European football this season.
Right. So those were last weekend games. Before we move to the upcoming ones, which will take place not only tomorrow, but also on Monday. I want to go through briefly on the first division, and I think we have the privilege of having you, Luke, which will, you follow probably with a closer attention than myself and Cornell, since we are a Kerry fan. So and a lot happened on the first division off the pitch. So I would like to get your thoughts on where's the first division at the moment, any highlights and any call out, anything major that you think we should be aware of.
Yeah, it's mad. It's been a week already since our last outing, but for Kerry now, just to be aware of them, maybe just a bit biased, but we got a 3-0 win against Athlone, who were in the playoffs last year, so that was a massive win for Kerry. And then for Athlone, it's not looking too good for them now because they're actually below us in the table. But if you really are just looking at the table, it's Dundalk are obviously well ahead in first, but then you have the likes of Cove, who are always expected to be doing well this season. But the team that are really catching people's attention now will be Bray Wanderers, so you might be a bit familiar with them, being from your area. And after 9 games now, the teams are starting to find their form that might last the season. So there's teams like we were talking about that need to change, and teams that can keep going. But the top 5 are Bray, Cove, Wexford and UCD. For UCD, I think it's really important to try get into the playoffs because they were in the Premier Division. They were kind of almost like a yo-yo team, just up and down kind of the whole time. And it's hard for them to find a solidified form over a number of years just because they are students and only students, so it's hard to keep players. But if they can entice players with maybe gain them education, paying for their education and stuff, they'll easily get players in, I'd say. But for them, it's really important to get into that this year. Wexford, they had a really big campaign in the FAI Cup last year. They only lost to Drogheda, who ended up winning it in the semi-finals. So that was a massive year last year, and that's continuing on this year now. They're finding a bit of form. They had 2 losses recently, and they were one of 3 teams that the FAI punished for fielding a unregistered player. But all 3 teams, Wexford and Kerry are appeals that, claiming that the FAI failed to communicate with them and that they had received confirmation that the player was registered. But now the FAI have come back saying that they're not going to give the points back, that committee has decided to agree with the FAI. So I don't know how independent the committee is. I don't want to get into that too much now because me and John talked about that last week as well, just on LOITalk. But a lot of Kerry people and Wexford people are dissatisfied really, and I think Wexford are seeking legal advice, so they're taking it a step further. But Kerry are claiming that they've been bullied by the FAI, and it's a really interesting discussion. We're only 3 years into our life as a club, and we're already feel like we've been abused almost by the FEI already, because I mean, for us, any win is valuable because we had really rough 2 years, especially the first one. Games like 9-1 lost against Galway. So like a 2-0 win, let alone a win in any form, is massive for us. But to have it taken away from them just really annoys us, really. And I don't know if there's another chapter to come in this whole story after today now, the FEI announcing that we're not going to get our points back, but we'll have to wait and see. Treaty United have been doing fairly good at the start of the season, but they've started to, their form started to get a bit shaky now. They won against us, that was a 3-0, that was a massive win for them. And then below them is Finn Harps, who are doing well. We're playing them tomorrow night now. But Finn Harps, when they play at home, I think it's a really hard place to go. You know, it's very north, because the majority of the first division is Munster and Leinster, really. I think it all is, besides Donegal there and Finn Harps. And then you've Longford, Athlone and Kerry, the bottom three, who are just really struggling this year. But I wouldn't give up hope on any team, really. But I would be looking at the top three now to be contesting playoffs. I think Bray and Cove are definitely going to get playoffs, and Dundalk are probably already celebrating winning the league already, because for them it's a walk in the park, really, compared to what the other teams have to experience. But maybe that's another issue with First Division, the lack of competitiveness for the top spot, because Cork City won it out easily last year and then Galway the year before. So since Kerry's been in the league, it's just been really easy to pinpoint a team who's going to win it out. But there's a lot going on in the second tier of Irish soccer, so it's just a thing to keep an eye on anyway, outside of the Premier Division. But exciting things to come, hopefully, for all teams involved.
Just before I pass to Cornell, just a quick question on Kerry FC. Is it a fair ambition for Kerry to fight for the playoffs, say, in the next 2 years?
Yeah, definitely, because I think this year there was a lot of hope around people maybe that we could get it this year. I was more aiming for maybe top 7 even, because that would be a massive improvement, because we've been 10th 2 years in a row now. So even 9th would be an improvement. But I think next year you'd be looking to compete, and then our second year you'd be hoping that we'd be easily into 5th place and maybe competing for 3rd and 2nd even. But no, I think over 2 years you're definitely going to see an improvement, hopefully, down here in Kerry. And when the 3rd tier comes in, hopefully we're a miles away from possible relegation, because if a team was to get relegated now to 3rd tier, then you're looking at problems again financially, maybe, because there's not enough money in that. But I think, yeah, definitely, I think 2 years is actually a very good time period, yeah, that we could be in playoffs in 2027, maybe, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be happy to see that myself. Cornell, anything you want to refer when it comes to the First Division?
Yeah, Dundalk, absolutely unstoppable. They are absolutely on fire. They are still unbeaten in this season, and they're really taking the First Division very seriously, and they're taking their season very, very seriously. And definitely, I think they'll definitely go up and be promoted from the First Division back into the Premier Division. Obviously Cove Ramblers, obviously they're ones to watch as well. Kerry FC, I think, are also ones to watch as well. And I think as well, Bray Wanderers, I think, is also ones to watch as well, who obviously missed out on the playoffs and relegation and playoffs places. But I think the First Division has really shown that the quality of the teams that are in there are not to be underestimated, because they're a small team. You've got Treaty United, who's also on fire as well. You know, they're looking very, very good, and I wouldn't put it past them for them to try and maybe challenge as well too. But I think obviously we all know that Dundalk is going to win it. Is going to win the First Division this season, and I think they'll definitely be promoted and win the First Division title from now to the end of the season.
Right. So let's move now to this weekend games. I suggest we go game by game for those matches happening on Friday and Saturday, and then we can just talk briefly on those that happen on Monday, because I think there's something happening in between, so it's hard to predict. Just one game that I forgot, and maybe there's a reason for that. Going to happen on Monday. Now I know why I forgot this game. I think it was intentionally. Anything you want to say on that one? Maybe Cornell?
Yeah, 4-1 against your team, against Cork City. To be honest, I was expecting Shamrock Rovers to win this game. Despite I no disrespect towards it, because look, Cork City haven't got Maguire and Keating. They are the two biggest, best key players in this Cork City team. You know, obviously the pressure is going to be put on Cather O'Sullivan for him to actually go on and really showcase his talents. Shamrock Rovers, we're talking about a team that has won 4 League of Ireland titles, 5 FII Cup trophies. We're talking about Stephen Bradley here. We're talking about Shamrock Rovers, who had the biggest hangover in the UEFA Conference League. When we all hyped them up to go on and beat Chelsea and to go on and go all the way, and we all question them and say, when is the fantastic form going to come back? And said, done. You're seeing it right now versus Cork City. They demolished Cork City. They destroyed and crushed Cork City to the max, because we wasn't expecting that. We was expecting Cork City to go into this game and say, well, let's go and cause an upset towards Shamrock Rovers. But Shamrock Rovers are showing the class and the quality and the reason why they are the team that they are. You know, when you got Matt Healy in this team, you got Danny Grant in there. There is no stopping them. When you got the best passers in the League of Ireland and of Shamrock Rovers, Dylan Watts, outstanding. When you've got, you know, a back line, you know, like Lopez in this team, you've got Houlihan, who's just impressing after impressing. It's a real disappointment that Helgeson is not looking at him and saying, well, listen, bring him into that Irish team. You've got Graham Burke, who's still at the age of 31. He's still going strong. He's still bringing that quality. He's still playing the quality that we're seeing from Graham Burke. You know, but to win 4-1, yes, it's heartbreaking for Cork City and for you as well, Victor. Don't get me wrong, but Shamrock Rovers are just on fire right now, and I think with the amount of games that they got coming up now, from now to the end of the season, I think it's like really, really difficult to put it past them. Cork City, I do worry about them because they are a good side. When they've got their best players in the team, they are a handful. No one doesn't want to be playing against Cork City. But when you look at Shamrock Rovers, they're up there, you know, from their history, you know, and where they want to be. They are determined and ever to go in and win their 5th consecutive League of Ireland title. Yes, it's going to be tough with Shelbourne and St. Pat's around, obviously. It's very hard at the moment. But when you really look at it from a certain point of view, this game versus Cork City was a massacre. You saw the way how Shamrock Rovers really took Cork City apart. They took them apart like they've never been taken apart. It was a walking apart for them, Victor. And I do worry for them. If they can't get their form back, then I think relegation playoff, I think, is looming for Cork City. But unless Clancy can go in and get, you know, 2 strikers to back up Maguire and Keating, and maybe get another central midfielder or somebody to back up, Cather O'Sullivan, it's going to be problems for Cork City, and I think it's going to worry a lot of Cork City fans of where their best form is going to go. Yes, they can try and bring the young stars in it, but you know, you need experience around that. Yeah, Greg Bolger, fantastic to see him back, but I think it's the consistency of the players. I want to see the players show something in their next game. They have to show up. They have to do something and show the manager that they want to play for Cork City and they want to play for the manager. Because if they don't perform, then obviously he will replace them. And I don't blame him, like I said previously.
Yeah, I was in the tower myself, and if it wasn't for Trust, we would have returned to Cork with a historical defeat. I could easily see like 6-1, 7-1. Trust was very consistent. I know he failed on the first goal, but I don't blame him because he saved another 5 opportunities. Did you watch the game or the highlights, Luke?
I didn't get a chance to see it really because I was just doing my own thing, but I understand what happened really because again, being from Kerry, you'd have an ear close to what's going on in Cork, but I was expecting when the game was replayed it'd be a close enough game because Cork City are still a major team, and I thought most games in the division would be competitive. So I was expecting more of a maybe 2-1 if Rovers were to win. But when I looked and saw 4-1, I couldn't believe it really. Like, it's really disappointing for Cork City and the fans that travelled to see that. And I think that was just another reason for them to start complaining now, just that there is change. I think this was a major wake-up call for everyone involved in the team that there needs to be changes around. I don't know what those changes are. I'm not involved with the team enough to say where there needs to be movement. But definitely, I think there needs to be changes around Cork City, and that Rovers have destroyed them completely, really.
Okay, now we are moving to next weekend games. There are no more excuses. We have Steven Munster, look, Waterford, Sligo, two teams that are desperate for points.
Yeah, I could see this being one of the games of the week, really, because you're looking at two teams who are fighting for relegation. Like, whatever about fighting to be looking for a title, but when teams are staring down relegation, it just brings up another level, just another gear in the team to really just push on and say, I'm not going down, really. Just for Waterford, really, being in a position where they've been in the first division so recently, they'll be looking definitely to not go back down there, because once you go back, and if another team was to go down with them, if you're looking at Sligo going down, then it's not granted that you're going to get first position, because if you slump back down, like UCD came back down, and now they've struggled the last few years. And then for Sligo, I think they have an infrastructure now where they are expected to be in the Prem. Fair enough, they might be fighting from 8th or 9th, but I think they're looking really to stay up, like every team is. But coming down for any team would be detrimental, really. It would be really bad for them. So I think this is going to be a really gritty fight. Like, I can see this being like an unreal 0-0, like one of the best 0-0s of the year, really. Or else it could be a case where there's 3-3. I don't know what way to call it, really, but I think it's going to be a great game either way. And obviously, you're looking at better teams for the game of the week, but I think this is definitely up there with what has potential to become a spectacle.
Cornell, can you predict a winner here, or do you think the draw will prevail?
I think this is going to be one of the games of the season. I think and of the night. I think two teams that are, as Luke said, they are fighting for relegation and they're fighting to stay up. Waterford, obviously, their form has kind of dipped. Salogo, the same thing. Obviously, I think Salogo Rovers will want to go into this game and believe that they want to go on and win this and get 3 points. But I think it for me personally, I think it looks like it's going to be a draw. But it wouldn't be surprising that Salogo Rovers goes on and tries and gets all 3 points.
Galway, Derry, Cornell. Is it another win for Galway?
I could definitely see Galway winning this game. They are just on fire at the moment. Derry City, I think there's still more questions being asked about them. We're finally seeing Liam Boyce get a goal, despite that he got sent off. But I think it's going to be very interesting to see if Patrick Hobben plays up front or not, with Boyce suspended. But I think with Galway United now, I think the very best is coming from them. But Derry City, I think we need to see Tian Lynch really put out a side that can really hurt Galway in many millions of ways. But because of their excellent form, despite losing, being the only team that was unbeaten throughout the League of Ireland this new season, I wouldn't put it past Galway United to go on and cause another upset, because Derry City, obviously Tian Lynch is still trying to get and used to adapting to the League of Ireland. But I think for me, this is going to be a very interesting game. But I think it's going to be Galway United that comes up winnable and gets the result.
Look, Can you expect anything different, or is definitely it's 3 points for Galway?
I'd mainly agree with Cornell, yeah, that this is going to be a statement win, like you said, for Galway. But at the same time, I think, Derry, with their recent games, they'll be looking at Galway, a team who were in the first division just 2 years ago. They still haven't solidified themselves yet as a Premier Division team. That if you're going to start finding form, that this is the game to do. Like, if you're not getting at least a point here, you really need to start looking at what's going on with this team. But obviously, don't forget too yet early, I suppose, as well at the same time. But no, for Galway, a win here would be absolutely massive, because Derry are one of the biggest teams in Irish history, really, and making the FAI Cup final last year as well. But for Galway, I think they'll be looking at even a draw be a great result. For Derry, if they can't get a win, there'll be a lot of complaints from their fans. But I'd agree with Cornell. Yeah, I'd fancy Galway to win this. Derry won't go down without a fight, though, I'd say.
Both Cork. The only team that Cork defeated this season so far was Bows. I don't know if that will motivate the lads or not, but it seems to me a distant memory. How much of that statistic can influence the performance on the pitch, Luke?
Yeah, I think it definitely plays a part, because people are questioning, do players pay attention to stuff like this? And I'd say they definitely do, because Cork City, they'll be looking for any bit of hope they can scavenge and grab onto, really. So for them to have beaten Bohemians already, they'll definitely be looking at that as this is a game that we can actually win, maybe change our form around. Last time they beat them, I think that was Keating got the winner, maybe, if I'm remembering the right game. But they were without him, they were without Maguire. But they have a class goalkeeper now, so if you're looking at trying to even get a clean sheet here, and if they can just find some scrappy goal, it doesn't matter how they come once it gets in the back of the net, really. But I think this is, like I was saying for the last game there, if this Derry were to change their form, if Derry were to get a win, this would have to be it. And same as Cork City now, this would be a very doable game, but that would still have a massive effect. So I'd agree that they would see the fact that they beat them already as a positive.
Any score prediction?
I'll go 1-1. I won't go either side. I'll just go with a draw. I'll say 1-1. Which I think, would you be happy with that if it was a draw, or would you rather a win?
At this point, yes.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm happy with the draw. Yeah. Cornell, can I expect a draw at least, or when I'm being too ambitious?
No, I think carry on being ambitious, Victor. I think you want to see Cork City win. I want to see Cork City win. I want to see them turn their season around. I want to see them learn how to cope without Maguire and Keating in this team, because I think that has really slapped down their confidence and made them feel that basically they don't feel confident scoring in front of goal. I want to see Cork City being ambitious, and look, this is very, very tough for Cork City. Cork City are in a position where you're thinking, well, they need to go and get the win. Look, Bohemians obviously lost their game last week, so they would want to go into this game and bounce back. Of course, they'll be looking to win this game against Cork City, but Cork City will want this. But I think it would just be very interesting how Cork City really respond after losing against Shamrock Rovers and how they go about it. I think it'll be very interesting to see how Clancy lines them up. I still believe that I think they could cause an upset too tomorrow. I think they still could, and I think they've got a chance of really upsetting Bohemians. But I do worry they might not be able to cope with that. But they have to show that resilience. They have to show that fighting spirit tomorrow against Bohemians, just like Bohemians will show the same thing. But also we want to see Cork City really rise above it tomorrow and really start getting back to their absolute best with or without Maguire and Keating.
Here's a game between the two favorites to win the title, in my opinion, maybe together with Shelbourne. I'll put Shelbourne as third. That's just my perception. So what can we expect from this Dublin derby, Cornell?
This is a big, massive Dublin derby, Victor. as you say, we're talking about two teams that are favourite for the League of Ireland title this season. You know, we're talking about two teams that obviously, you know, one team has won the League of Ireland 8 times. One team has won it, you know, 5 times, of course, four times. But look, at the end of the day, this game is massive. It's a massive, massive, massive game. Do you know what I'm saying? And, you know, we're talking about Shamrock Rovers, like I was saying previously. We're talking about a team that's won, you know, 4 League of Ireland titles. We're talking about a team that's won 5 FII Cups. In total, they've won the League of Ireland 20 times. We're talking about St. Pat's, who haven't won it yet. Obviously, eight times that they've won it. We're talking about a team that basically could go on and really challenge for the League of Ireland title. But this game is a massive, massive, massive game where I think Shamrock Rovers will be confident going into this game. I think they'll think they can go and get a result against St. Pat's. But look, listen, I think St. Pat's, obviously, they're struggling without Aidan McKenna in this team. And I said the same thing for Cork City as well previously. I said they have to try and really cope without Aidan McKenna in this St. Pat's team, Victor. You know, you've got Mason Melia in this team who can really, really be the next generation. We're talking about Mason Melia, who's a 17-year-old kid, you know, who's going to go and make that big move to Tottenham. But we're talking about Mason Melia, who could be improved, who can still be better, who can still be one of the best young talents that Stephen Kenny has from now till January in the new year. We're talking about that. We want to see the very best of Mason Melia. I want to see Mason Melia linking up with Zebedee. I want to see him linking up with Jake Mulaney. I want to see him do that. I want to see Mason Melia show all those St. Pat's fans that he can be the next big thing. He can be the next generation. That is what I want to see from Mason Melia. I want to see him turn up tomorrow. I want to see him be the very best version of Mason Melia tomorrow. Shamrock Rovers, can't say nothing more. 4 wins, 1 draw. Fantastic again. And this is the reason why they are being questioned. Can they be stopped? Can they be beaten? I don't think they can. But obviously, St. Pat's will go and find ways and say they might be unbeaten. They may have won 4 games and they may have drawn, but they can still be beaten as a team. Despite, yes, you question their front line. You question, can they cope with the likes of Green and Rory Gaffney? Even though Graham Burke is playing up front, Danny Mandroyu is back. We're seeing the best of Danny Mandroyu. Danny Mandroyu is back and playing his football and still going, and it's good to see him back on the pitch. But again, it's going to be a very, very close game, and it's going to be a big, big, massive Dublin derby. But it would not be surprising if St. Pat's goes on and wins it. But for them to win this game against Shamrock Rovers, we want to see Mason Melia turn up. I want to see the very best of Mason Melia, the best version of Mason Melia tomorrow.
Luke, would you be willing to put your money on this game, or would you be rather hesitant?
Just form-wise, I think it's Rovers that I'd be putting my money on. But I think St. Pat's, you know, if they want to say that they are contenders, then you have to be able to win this game. Especially when you're at home, you should be looking at maybe like a 2-1 win, I'd say, for St. Pat's to be my prediction. But if Rovers can win this, then they're really going to find form. That would be 5 wins in a row, I'd say, nearly for them. So you'd be looking at them just plowing on to be champions early maybe again. But obviously there's so long to go. So but this will be one of those games, if there is a winner that you come back to and you'd be thinking at the end of the year, oh, if St. Pat's won that, it would have been so different, or if Rovers had done this. So there's different results that can definitely alter the season, no matter. We're only 10 games in, but that doesn't really matter, because at the end of the season, you're going to be looking back and thinking, what could we have done different? So, you know, every game counts. And if you're going to be Rovers, you're really looking at winning every game early and then showing teams what you're made of. And then St. Pat's really just need to prove themselves. Obviously, FAI Cup success in recent times, but league-wise, they've been missing in terms of champions. Obviously, Rovers have ran the show for a while, but maybe times are changing, or is this a game that will show us that Rovers are here to last for a lot longer than we thought they would be?
Another one that is very hard to predict, and there's a lot. There's a lot to. There'll be a lot of impact on the table from this game. Drogheda, Shelbourne look.
Yeah. I said what was it, that the Sligo Galway or Sligo Waterford game would be game of the week, but I didn't actually realise some of the fixtures that were coming up. I mean, 3 games that we've looked at already that are of that caliber to be game of the week for Drogheda. It's really about possibly a draw. I mean, this is former champions. I'm not sure what the result was when they played each other for the first time in this season, but like for Drogheda, definitely if they can get a win here, it's absolutely massive, and it will put out of people's minds maybe that they're pretenders more than contenders. I think this will put them up there as challengers, definitely. And then for Shelbourne, you're looking at a possibility of losing to Drogheda, which would really be deflating them over the next few games, because a loss to a team that you wouldn't be expecting to lose at the start of the season can have its effects as the games go on. But for Shelbourne, they'd be fancying themselves, like Cornell was talking about the impact of Damien Duff. I mean, he's absolutely class. Like, I think he's a model for all managers across the island of Ireland, really. So he'll definitely have to be back in that challenge regardless of what sort of form teams are on. So this is another game that could be game of the week, I think. If all of these games live up to their billing, then we're going to have some of the best fixtures that we've had in a long, long time across the board. So hopefully they all go well from a neutral point of view, but obviously each team will be fighting for their own right. So I back Shelbourne still this time, that maybe Drogheda's form could just dip for a while, but I'm not saying that Drogheda are going to start losing. I'm just saying this could be a once-off for a while. But I'd say a 2-0 Shelbourne win is what I'll go with.
So Drogheda is a very hard ground to visit, Cornell, but I remember a few weeks ago, Rovers managed to return to Dublin with 3 points. Would Damien Duff's team be able to repeat the facade?
I think Damien Duff will be looking at trying to go to Drogheda's ground and really trying to really find a way to really beat down Drogheda, because they have been in excellent form this season. Shelbourne, on the other hand, obviously, we all expected them to go on and challenge for the League of Ireland title. I still believe they can go and do that. But in this game right now, as you're looking at it now against an underdog side that is top of the table now, and that is obviously shocking everybody and asking a lot of League of Ireland fans, are they good enough to challenge for the League of Ireland title? Then obviously you wouldn't put it past Drogheda. Shelbourne, obviously, we all as League of Ireland fans, we all want to see Aoibheann and Boyd and obviously Harry Wood linking up together. Harry Wood has been in brilliant form this season. We're seeing the very best of Harry Wood, cement his best form from last season into this new season. But we are all seeing that Aoibheann has been on the bench, and I'm thinking, well, why is Aoibheann on the bench? Why is he not in the starting 11? Yes, you got to. Damien Duff has to give the other players a chance. They've got to have the opportunity for them to really showcase their talents. But this is Shelbourne we're talking about. This is Damien Duff we're talking about here. We're talking about a team who basically won the League of Ireland title last season. We're talking about a team that is going to be challengers and that will challenge for the League of Ireland title, along with the likes of Shamrock Rovers, along with the likes of St. Pat's. We're talking about, that's who we're talking about. We're talking about a team that has a fantastic winning mentality. We're talking about a manager who obviously, like Damien Duff, knows how to bring the best out of this young team and out of this team, and has brought players into this team that has really gelled into his style of play, and that he can really turn Shelbourne into the team that they deserve to be. But this is going to be a very, very tough, interesting game. Drogheda will give everything they've got, but we all want to see Aoibheann and Boyd link up together up front with Harry Wood, obviously playing alongside him as a 3, because them two, especially Aoibheann and Boyd, I think they're going to be fantastic together. The link up is there. We all want to see it. I want to see it. I'm sure Luke wants to see it. I'm sure you want to see it as well, too, Victor. But that is, I am praying that Aoibheann plays in this game against Drogheda, along with Boyd, and then of course Harry Wood playing alongside as a free, because I just think them two of Odebeko and Boyd, I think are just going to be absolutely unstoppable together, and I think they'll score even more goals than how they've got already.
So let's just wrap up with the Easter Monday games, and just a couple of words, because it really depends on the outcome of the games happening tomorrow. So it's very hard to say at this point what to expect from the Easter Monday games, but I've just put them all on the screen and we just say a couple of things about it. So we have another Dublin derby, Shamrock Bohemians. We have a Munster derby, Cork Waterford. We have Drogheda St. Patrick's, probably the two teams in best form at this point in the League of Ireland, along with the Shamrock Rovers. You have another Shelbourne being visited by Galway, and we have another sort of derby, Sligo. Anything you want to highlight here, Cornell?
I think Shamrock Rovers and Bohemians, I think that's going to be a massive game as well. I think Derry as well is also another one as well. The Munster derby, I think I'm looking forward to. I think that's going to be another game that I feel that's going to have a lot of fireworks in that game, for sure. But I think there's some very tasty games coming up during the Easter period, and I'm looking forward to it. And I think we're going to see the realness of the League of Ireland, and definitely we're going to see the whole team, the teams really show their quality and their class on the pitch.
Look, I'm just going to put the matches on the screen. Shamrock Bows, Cork Waterford, Drogheda Pats, Shelbourne Galway, and Derry Sligo. Anything from your end that you would like to share with us?
I think, as always, Bohemians Rovers is a historic game, and it's always the main Dublin derby to look out for, I'd say. I was in the Aviva Stadium last time, and Bohemians got the win. That might have given them a bit of false hope for the year that was to come. So I think this could be really bad for Bohemians, but at the same time, when it's a derby, like you see it in England all the time, Liverpool could be on great form, then Everton can just put on great performance just because of the build-up of a derby. And you're looking at Rovers, then Bohemians. So I'd be 90% sure that Shamrock Rovers should win this comfortably, but then there's a 10% bit of doubt that Bohemians could pull something out. And then you're looking down to Cork City against Waterford. I think that's potential to be the game of the week. I keep saying this about every game I'd say now at this point, but for the Monday, I think that'll be a great game to watch, 5 o'clock. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that one, I'd say. So for Waterford there and Cork City, you're both trying to find form. Waterford will definitely be a lot more confident going into that one than Cork City. But it's definitely there for the taking for the team, because last time they played, it was just a 2-1 win, I think, for Waterford. And talking to John previous, he said it'll be the one game he'd look back on if it was a close table that Cork City should have done better in. And Drogheda Pats, then John Brennan's just saying there that Dash and Shels Galway is going to be the two best games, or great games, and I'll definitely agree with that. St. Pat's Drogheda could be first versus, I don't know what the table is now, could be second, I'm not too sure. It's definitely two of the top teams in the whole division, and who'd be, depending on how their seasons can go, be the main contenders. But then you're looking at, as John was saying then, Shelbourne Galway, which is the one that I'd be looking out for. I think I'd be 2-1 Shelbourne would be my prediction on that one. But again, Galway are well capable of big results, no matter who the team is. And then lastly, Derry against Sligo. If Derry aren't winning that, there's something seriously wrong, I think. That should be a comfortable one for them. But, games aren't won on paper, so you really have to just go for it, really. You can't be too sure of anything. And Sligo could nearly put out something. You never know in this division. And I think that's the great thing about Irish soccer. But no, I'd fancy the winners to be Derry, Shelbourne, Drogheda, Rovers, and I'll say Cork City just to keep you happy. Maybe you'll let me on again next time.
Oh, no worries. So there'll be a lot to go through next time we meet Cornell next Thursday. A lot of games, so a lot of excitement. Look, all the best for KDFC and for your photographs. I saw them on Instagram.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very talented. So I have to say, you deserve all the attention. So if people are into photographs and sports, I encourage everyone to check your Instagram account. Maybe I will put it in the description. And Cornell is also talented with music, by the way. I never mentioned that, but it's about time. Cornell is a DJ, no?
Yeah, I'm a DJ. Yeah, I play drum and bass, and I play a bit of UK garage as well, a bit /bass line as well. So I tried to mix and blend and things, but yeah, I'm doing very well in the DJ music scene, and obviously I've got to play at an event next week, next Saturday at the Big City Jam. So looking forward to that.
Where is it? Your show?
It's at it's in Lincoln at the Northern Great Terrace at the Lincoln DJ Hub, and there's going to be a lot of people there, so I'm looking forward to that and stuff, and then carrying on my quest to become a DJ tutor as well in teaching children, young adults with autism.
Yeah, best of luck with that, Cornell.
Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff. So thanks for your insights, both of you. I'll be looking forward to talk to you, Cornell, next week about the games, and keep an eye on your photographs online, Luke. So thank you very much.
Thank
James.
you.
And I want to thank the viewers as well for watching us. And if they can award us with a like, just there is a button below, and there is a second button, which is a subscribe. If you haven't touched that, please do that. And if you know someone who haven't watched this it will be available online, so they can always watch it later in the evening, tomorrow, on the weekend. And so I will be very grateful if you can share. So I see you, everyone. See you, everybody, next Thursday, 7 p.m. Same time, same place. Have a good evening, guys.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.